Charges, second reading. I do want to remind council that because this is a special meeting, that is the only agenda item that we can discuss, and I do have blue cards from 4 members of the audience. If you would wish to speak, just fill out a blue card and bring it over to the clerk. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 28-11 is an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending section 10-4-19 of the Code of the City of Pensacola entitled Schedule of Rates and Charges, providing for severability, repealing clause, providing an effective date.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Move the approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from council? Councilwoman Myers.
Yes, I will not be supporting this ordinance. I believe it will impose a severe hardship on people during these hard economic times. So I will not be supporting it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments from council? I'll give a few members a chance to be settled.
I'm fine.
Okay, we do have some blue cards we'll work through. Okay, members of the audience, our first speaker is Stephen M. Embry. Welcome.
Thank you. I hope this time I'm not rudely interrupted, as at the last meeting. Also, just got a question. According to the new charter, isn't the mayor supposed to be here tonight?
Mr. Masser?
I don't read that as a charter requirement, Madam Chairman.
Well, I do. In terms of the increasing of the gas rates, let me just first say at the meeting that you had last time that I don't believe was properly posted to give the citizens enough time to be able to attend. I just wanted to point that out. But when we were at that meeting, remember they were talking about the old gas lines and the new gas lines? Well, you know, the new gas lines have a radius about this big. The old gas lines have a radius about this big. All right? So when they were talking about, you know, the volume, well, if you pull out your slide ruler, you'll know that their explanation was bull because of the size difference in the pipes. Now, also, if I remember correctly, it was built in 1887. Well, certainly if there was a problem with pipes built in 1887, it would have been taken up by city councils in the past, probably during the 40s and 50s. Most definitely, you think they would have dealt with it by the 1970s. Or you think when they put in all the beautiful new sidewalks downtown, they might have taken care of it then. But now we're coming to the citizens and we're asking them for a rate increase of approximately 10%. Now, here's a few things you may not realize. You know, Pensacola jumps back and forth from being, or the county jumps back and forth from being either the second poorest or the first poorest. We're around 18th in the nation. That means we're competing with Indian reservations in the West in Appalachia. Workforce innovation, which is unemployment, only counts 21% of the unemployed. Therefore, the true unemployment rate in this state is over 30%, which is greater than it was during the Great Depression. When shopping at Walmart a few days ago, now I'm definitely going to the commissary, which is what I did today, eggs, a dozen large eggs is almost $3. I spent 88 cents, not for a pound of oranges, for one orange, 92 cents for a plum, $4.50 for a gallon of orange juice in Florida. The electric company's looking at an increase. Water and sewer rates went up. People are hurting. There is tremendous poverty in this community. And if you don't believe me, because I do a certain amount of volunteer work, I'll take you, and you will see people will break your heart. People who have worked all their lives, raised their children, were the stay-at-home mom generation. Their husband died. They're living on $450 to $500 a month Social Security. Is that the way we treat Americans? And now we come along and we're going to raise the gas rates on people. The point being is everything that's getting raised are necessities of life, the things you have to survive. This is a very good time if you have extra money to buy plasma TVs and luxury items, because they're going down, because no one's buying them. Well, very few people are. And this is related to the budget, you know? And I'm wondering at what time did this council receive from the mayor the full and complete budget, including a list of all new hirees, how much they make, the cost of their salary, benefits, etc., and their job descriptions. And where is this council given enough time to adequately go through that budget line by line so they could delay this increase in gas? So at the very least, you could have said, well, we have to raise gas, but we won't do it to businesses or residents of the city of Pensacola. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Embry. Ms. Myers.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you for your comments. And I agree with your concerns, and you articulated, I believe, the reasons that I will not support this gas increase. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to come down here.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Our next speaker is Ms. Jewel Cannada-Wynn. Welcome.
Thank you,
to see you.
Madam President. Thank you, City Council members, for all that you do. However, I was going to do a talk at my church for seniors. We have about 15 seniors that are going to graduate this year, and I told them, I said, you got to wait on me for about 15 minutes. I got to come down here to the City Council and let you know exactly how concerned I am with this potential rate increase. This rate hike could potentially place many of the burdens of taking care on the citizens of Pensacola, the people who are least likely to be able to afford it. I know this week I was very upset when State Farm let me know unconditionally that my homeowner's insurance has gone up 200%. Not 10%, but 200%. 10% is a lot for our community. We have one of the highest tax burdens in the state of Florida. And how we get out of it is because we don't include certain things as the city's franchise fee that we all have to pay. We don't include the city taxes that we pay on all of our utilities. Our citizens have to pay all of that, and then we come back and we ask them to pay 10%. ESP is not broke. ESP makes a profit. It makes enough profit to give $8 million to the general fund, and it makes enough profit to put money in reserve. So it is not broke. I just want to remind the council of something that I heard all of last year. And what that was is, remember that we're going to do more with less. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Barbara Mayall. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. I'm here because I am hoping that you do not increase the ESP tax because of a few things. I support a lot of what the mayor does. I was on the Charter Review Commission. I was an alternate. So I was there all the time. I know a lot about when ESP gave the $8 million and all different things about that. What I'm concerned about, and I'm very grateful for what our mayor has done and for the decisions that you have to make, hard ones. But I think this is a decision that you don't have to make. You don't have to raise this 10%. We know ESP is not broke. Okay? I don't have to worry about that right now, but there was a time in my life when I did. And I've talked to people, I've talked to county commissioners today that called me. They couldn't be here, but they have residents in Montclair. A lot of those people are on gas. They're not going to be able to turn their heaters on if you raise this tax. They live off child support if the fathers pay the money. Okay? And I really think that you can make a decision of not raising this tax. And I would really appreciate it if y'all would reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to add to Ms. Mayall's comments, the 211 update that we get from United Way, I think was the most disturbing bit of information. Like Councilman Wu had heard from so many of deciding whether they pay their bill or eat, that there are many gas customers that have their bill from last winter in arrears and their gas has been turned off. They can't even cook the food from the food pantry that they could go get. So when they're calling for first call for help at 211, that's the situation that they find themselves in. So thank you for bringing that out. Our next speaker is Walter Wallace. Welcome.
Hey, Councilman.
Welcome.
I'm glad you brought that point up. That's a very interesting point you just made, because I had a discussion 2 weeks ago with Gov Powell. I myself contributed a little extra money for people to pay their light bill, the gas bill, and UCA have a fund too. And I had a discussion because they sent me a bill just for that amount, and I was asking a young lady, and she was talking about they couldn't pay it. But she brought up an interesting point that at Gov Powell, those kind of funds are being declining. They are decreasing. There's no people contributing that extra fund to pay people utility bills. So I'm glad you brought that up, and that's something the council got to look at. Number one, I'm going to applaud to E. Mackey for a rate increase. When I was down here back in 2 months ago, asking you not to cut the property tax. Nobody cried about the city we needed broke. Nobody cried about we needed money then. But all of a sudden, ESP is about to go broke. And why ESP came back to butter like the other department, the fire department, public works, every department in the city have took a cut. Why is ESP the only one making money that need a raise? And I am very concerned about the people that really can't afford to pay. And you got to look at, we're not talking about just the people in the city. We're talking about customers. Majority of our customers are in the county. And you're talking about expanding the base of ESP. How are you going to expand the base by raising the rates? And the majority of the thing is that people are in a tight economic thing. If ESP was broke, why ESP is not taking a cut to like other departments? And then the main thing, I just can't believe that you cut property tax and now you're crying that we need money. And I want you to really consider that to operate this city, and myself, I've been a city customer and an ESP customer a long time. I'm in the process of remodeling my house, but I'm considering calling Gov Powell and compare the apples. Am I going to be cheaper with ESP or am I going to be cheaper with Gov Powell when I remodel my house? So there's something you need to be considered, but I'm more concerned about the elderly and people I know cannot afford to pay that 10%. And then I'm just still applauding about how you reduced the rate, reduced the property tax, and now you're crying broke, and the ESP is the only city department that can't take a cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Our next speaker is Ms. Dottie Dubuisson. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Dottie Dubuisson, 1308 North Barcelona. I speak to you this evening not because I couldn't afford to pay the gas increase, because honestly, I don't pay for gas. I have the privilege of living in a housing situation where my gas is provided by the household that I'm a part of. So this will not directly impact me. However, I daily am met by people who can't buy a 49-cent cup of coffee at McDonald's, who cannot provide for the basic money it will take them to get to a food bank, to individuals who are trying to hold on to a family home, who are having trouble making their $139 a month payment, by renters who are scared to death that their landlord is going to kick them out because they can't take a $10 a month income because they are on fixed and very low income. The opportunity for them to raise their incomes currently is not highly probable due to the economic situation and conditions of growth in our community, which we're all working on. And I salute you for everything that you've done in an attempt to build a better community. However, in trying to support campaign promises, this council made a decision to lower tax rates on the very people who appear to have the most capability of providing for their own needs. And in the process of doing that, they wouldn't even have had to pay the full amount that was out because they could have offset that payment by a tax deduction on their federal income taxes. So you basically said to them, because you voted for me and voted to put this entity that we're calling the current administration into position, we're going to honor what we said we'd try to do to you and lower income tax, lower property taxes. But to the rest of the citizens, many of whom voted to put this same administration into office, you're saying, tough luck. We haven't managed our money well. We're going to take the profits that you have generated through the enterprise of ESP, and we're going to use them to offset the budget needs for our plans. I'm not condemning the mayor. I'm not condemning his administration. I'm not condemning any of you who chose to support any of these decisions. What I'm asking you to do is take a look a little closer at what you're currently doing to the average citizen. And if you count the numbers and if you look at the statistics from United Way and from every food pantry and from every church support organization, it is a growing number of citizens, and it's going to be larger. The offsetting difference that you are doing is going to handicap these individuals. Additionally, I believe we will see more fires as individuals who cannot afford to use gas to light their homes will be burning candles, paper fires, or in any way that they can choose to create heat in their home. I also believe that we'll probably see a loss of population as individuals choose to leave Pensacola because they cannot sustain their current households. It's a sad situation that we're in economically throughout the globe. Pensacola has a chance to make a little bit of difference by saying to the lowest end of the community, we are hearing your need and we're going to do what we can to make it a little easier. Please look at how you can scrimp anything out of the rest of the budget and try to leave ESP as whole as you can and the prices as low as you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, is there any further discussion? That is the end of citizen input. Seeing none, please vote.
Ron.
Mr. Townsend.
Ron, you need to vote.
Did.
You going to vote, Ron? Did you? Oh, okay.
Is the
Light not
Is
working?
it not working?
Can we start that over again? I want to make sure my vote's counted the right way.
Voting on the budget.
Okay, we've cleared the lights.
Yes.
Council, please vote. And that passes 5-4. And that is the only item of business for this special meeting. We are adjourned.